This episode of the Mad Rush podcast.
It definitely changes your perspective on life, but I also believe that you shouldn't have to face trials, tribulations, tragedy in order to fully live your life. You need to find the joy in each day, whether it's you get to have your favorite meal or you get to call your best friend. You've got to find pockets of joy in every day because they are there. You just got to find them.
Welcome to the Mad Rush podcast. I'm Trisha Addicks, the original Sorority Rush consultant. While the stories I have to share are nothing short of astonishing, this podcast goes beyond the wild client tales and sorority life. I'll be engaging with fascinating guests from both within and outside the Greek world, uncovering the surprising connections that bind us all together. Join me for a journey that's as entertaining as it is enlightening. Welcome to Mad Rush. Y'all, I am so excited. My book, The Rush Bible, is available for pre-order from Simon & Schuster. It's coming out next May, but you can order it now, and it's going to be great for anyone who's considering going through Sorority Rush. This is the book for you. You can order it today. The link is in the show notes, and it's also on my Instagram at Rush with Confidence. And I can't wait to get this great information on how to crush Sorority Rush out to all of you. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I appreciate you. Okay, y'all are in for a treat today. I am sharing the joy and positivity that my guest Whitford Wooten brings to the world despite facing the hardest battle. My friend Caroline connected Whitford and I am eternally grateful. Thank you so much for being here, Whitford.
Thank you so much for having me. What a treat.
So, y'all, she just said something funny to me. And I'm going to tell you, Whitford's also a Chi Omega. Go Chi-O. And she is a current recruitment advisor at NC State, the lesser state school in North Carolina. And the reason I say that is because I'm a lifetime UNC Carolina fan. But she just called me out as being a Walmart fan, and it's actually so true. So explain what a Walmart fan is.
So where I'm from, which is Kinston, a lot of people either are State fans, Duke fans, or Carolina fans. And what the big joke is that even if you didn't go to the university, you go to Walmart and buy your memorabilia. And so everyone calls everyone a Walmart fan. And so you're a Walmart fan because you didn't go to UNC and you're a UNC fan.
Exactly. So I'm from Charlotte, as y'all know, listening. And I have a coffee table book that is about Carolina basketball and Dean Smith. And I had some friends from Charlotte come visit me and they're like, wait, why do you have this coffee table book? I'm like, 'cause I'm a Carolina fan. Anyway, so speaking of Caroline, our friend Caroline connected Whitford and I. And according to her, Whitford has brought kindness, joy, laughter, and empathy to the recruitment process during her tenure as an advisor. How did you get involved in being an advisor?
First off, that's really kind of Caroline. She's a mess. I got an email from Nationals, and I thought it was a joke at first back in, spring of 2021. And I was like, that's not real. So I just deleted it. And then about 2 weeks later, I was like, let me go back and just read this. And so they were looking for advisors. And so I emailed them back and I was like, you know what? I would love to be an advisor. And so kind of went through that process of doing all of that. And then lo and behold, about, 2 months later, I came on board with Alpha Kappa, which is really sweet because that was my initiating chapter.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so what do you do in that capacity, or what did you do? What have you been doing in that capacity?
When I first started, I have always been the recruitment advisor, and that's been really, really fun. I've loved recruitment. I loved going through recruitment, even though it was very stressful. I originally was not going to go through recruitment, and my parents went to state, and my dad was a KA. And he did not want me going through recruitment. And so finally, I think 24 hours before the deadline, I was like, I want to go through recruitment. And so finally, he relented and let me go through. And so I have always loved recruitment. And so when I signed on to be an advisor, I was like, let me do recruitment. This is my time to shine. And so I think it's been a blast. I could not have done it without the help. It essentially became a co-role. And so I could not have done it without the people who have helped me. I've always said, especially after I was diagnosed, I'm just here for a good time, not a long time. And so I was a young life leader right after my dad passed away, or right before my dad passed away, excuse me. And so when you're a young life leader, they teach you to earn the respect before you are able to talk about Jesus. And so that's how I've approached my role as a leader or an advisor is I automatically give them respect, but I earn their respect.
Oh, wow. I love that.
And so I think that's how I've been, I think, at least I hope, I've been successful as an advisor. I think that answers your question.
Yeah, I know you absolutely did. So you mentioned your diagnosis. I would love for you to share your story with our listeners today.
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with ALS at 31 in summer of 2023. My dad passed away from ALS in 2017. At the time, they were only able to test for 2 genes. And so he was tested for those. And so I was like, oh, wow. And he didn't have those. So we were essentially told, you can't get those and you can't get ALS. So I was like, great. I'm good. I'm in the clear. And then I started having some issues with my right leg. I had a freak accident. A bike fell on my leg.
Yeah, that's pretty freak. Were you riding the bike at the time?
I was on a biking trip with my mom, and right before I went back to teaching in the fall, it was like a 1 in a million freak accident. We stopped for lunch, and my bike just clipped my right knee.
And where were you?
We were in Virginia on the New River Trail, I think. And so I didn't think anything of it. I just thought I had tweaked my ACL. I'd already had that one reconstructed. And so it wasn't getting better. And come to find out, went through all of this testing, and I had essentially crushed the peroneal nerve in my knee. And so finally found a surgeon who would decompress the nerve and went through that surgery and came out like a champ, brand new leg. So about 9 months later, I was bike riding again and I aggravated the nerve and I was like, gosh, this is ridiculous. And so I went back to my surgeon and he was like, why are you back here? And I said, great question. Why don't you figure it out? And the surgery failed and it shouldn't have. And so that's when I took my mom with me just to have another set of ears. And she looked at me and she was like, did you tell him? And I was like, tell him what? And she's like, that dad passed away of ALS. I was like, no, didn't think that was pertinent information. No, not a big deal. And he went sheet white. And at that point, he was like, we're in a whole nother arena. And at this point, you're going to go be tested for ALS and have everything ruled out. And I said, what about MS? Like, that seems way more reasonable. And he was like, no, not with your family history and all your symptoms. And I said, cool, I'm 31. And so I spent the summer of 23 having all this testing done. And we checked off MS, Parkinson's, pretty much all the big ones. And the last one was ALS. And it came back and the doctor was like, I'm so sorry, we're going to send you to Duke.
So they tested for all the other stuff before ALS?
So there's not one specific test that you can say yes or no. It's essentially a disease of ruling everything else out.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. So, and that was the summer of 2023, correct?
Correct.
So yeah, so that was, I mean, I don't even know what was like for you guys. It sounds like your faith is guiding you through this battle, or I don't know if you call it a battle, but so I would love for you to talk about how that changed, if it did change, how you approach life and in the face of something like that. I think that would be is so inspiring, and I would love for you to talk about that. If it changed your hopes and your goals and any advice on navigating based on your experience?
At that point, I was applying to get my master's of social work. So that definitely derailed that a little bit. I went back to work that fall. So I was a preschool teacher, field hockey coach, still a recruitment advisor. But I stopped my plans of going to get my master's. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going back to work. I can definitely work and coach and do recruitment, all that good stuff. And then about December, I was like, can't work anymore. That's not feasible at all.
So this was December of 24?
2023.
Okay.
And I said, I can't go back in January and continue to be a teacher. It's just not fair to the families. But it definitely changes your perspective on life. But I also believe that you shouldn't have to face trials, tribulations, tragedy in order to fully live your life. You shouldn't live your life like that. You should, if you want to take a trip, you should make time to take a trip. But I also think that's been my mindset since my dad passed away. My mom, sister, and I have always made a point to take a trip every fall together, or at least every spring. And I think, again, goes back to my point, you shouldn't have something tragic happen in your life to go and live. So that's how my life has changed dramatically. And now that I'm on hospice, I'm trying to tick off every single bucket list left that I have that I'm able to.
You were in Connecticut last weekend. Was that part of your bucket list?
Yes. So I've been to every state on the Eastern Seaboard except for Connecticut and Rhode Island. And so I was like, and so my mom, sister, and I were taking, so my sister is due in December with a little baby boy. And so we were taking our last mother-daughter trip before she has her little baby. So I was like, let's go to Connecticut and Rhode Island. I was like, don't really care if y'all want to go there. That's where I want to go. So that's where we went.
Was it fun? Where in Connecticut did you go? I just went there as well.
We went to Mystic. Gosh, where else did we? It's another thing. My memory is terrible now. We went to Mystic. We went to Newport, Rhode Island. We did go to Vermont for my sister because I also wanted to get a maple creamy. And then we flew in and out of Boston just because that's the easiest. So we went all over.
So here's a question, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Do you know the name of her son already?
I do, but they want to keep it to themselves.
Yeah, I just was wondering if that was something that that y'all had talked about, just because. Okay, so that's a lot of really good pieces of advice. Just living your life not in reaction to that, living your life despite whatever you may be facing and not putting things off. So I think that's really cool. But I think you're living, from what I have learned about you, with joy. And I think that is really, really cool that you're able to do that. And how do you find that joy facing what you're facing?
It comes from Jesus. I think that I also, through my faith, and I know where I'm going, and I'm going to heaven. And I think when you live freely like that, you're able to say, okay, let's go and live each day like it's your last day, and it's going to be the best day of your life. And when you have that and you can live without abandonment, or it makes life really easy.
Yeah, I think that is unique to you, and it's really beautiful. So you said you gave the people that you were advising automatic respect while earning yours. How do you think you earned their respect? I can totally see why, but I'm just curious if you have advice, I guess, on earning respect at any time, even when you're facing something like that, or in any situation.
I think you advise, you don't tell. So if they have a problem, you allow them to come to you, and then you give advice. You don't tell them how to solve it. You treat them like they're adults, even though they're 18, 19 years old, which 18-year-olds are adults, but you treat them as a peer until they're not. I don't know. I do. And I don't know. It's really hard to answer. I've just done it.
Right. And that's also really cool because it's just inherent to you. So it's a hard question to answer when it's part of what makes you you. So yeah, no, that was a perfect answer. So what do you think the challenges that young women are facing now in college, and obviously you've already given some of your advice, but what do you think the challenges are uniquely like in college that you were helping advise them on? God, I was talk about butchering a sentence. It's like,
No, you're doing great. I think one thing I have noticed, especially compared to when I was going through, is social media. I think, gosh, I'm so thankful that I joined a sorority when I did, because social media was just Facebook and you only
right.
had to worry about carrying a digital camera and you uploaded all of your pictures on Sunday.
I forgot about that. I forgot about the digital camera uploading.
Yeah. And if you were the one who had to carry the digital camera for the weekend, gosh, that sucked for you.
Yeah, so social media for sure is a challenge, and I definitely think there are some benefits to having social media, especially with the number of people that are going through recruitment. I'm saying recruitment in respect for you. I usually say rush because it's faster, but
No, I do as well, and I always forget to say recruitment, but yes.
yeah, I think it's really I've said this before, but with respect to some of the things that have changed, some of the terms that have changed, I really respect him and I work really hard to say the right word in 99.9%. But rush, for some reason, I'm like, I don't, I just, I respect that there is a negative connotation, but I don't really understand it. And so anyway, that's on me. That's that's one of my many faults. But yeah, for sure. I think that social media is a great way to show what makes you uniquely you to the world, and but it can be a detriment if you use it the wrong way, and I am
Yeah.
super glad that I did not have social media or any online presence when I was in college. My friends and I talk about that all the time. We're like, Lord, thank you that it was just the picture man coming around. Picture man, take your picture. Because, yeah, I was at a wedding this past weekend and one of my son's friends handed me a digital camera and was like, Miss Trisha, will you take some pictures of us at the wedding? I was like, wait, no, like, did you have a phone? So of course I said yes. But I was walking around and then I was like, this is a super big pain. And then he already has uploaded them. And I was like, okay, you're the only human below the age of like 50 that's doing this. And I don't know why you're doing it. It's making it hard on all of us. So, yeah, I think social media. Also, do you see any other challenges based on? I know NC State has kind of a wild recruitment process.
It does.
And do you see that changing? So, for y'all who are listening, NC State, well, why don't you explain the history of NC State recruitment? And
I'm not the best person to ask anymore. That would be Emily. No, I think we have a no frills recruitment, and I think there's pros and cons
will
to
you
that.
explain explain what that means? And the reason I'm asking you this is because NC State is pretty unique, and I think it's interesting, and I want your take on it.
Oh, you don't want my take on it. No frills is that essentially no balloon arches, no very minimal decorations, no banners. No, I mean, when it's no frills, no frills. Bid day, essentially the same thing. It's very unique, and it's been that way for a long time. And I think it's a detriment.
And I agree, but why do you think it is?
I think that in a way, it doesn't allow each sorority to showcase who they are. I understand it from a standpoint that it doesn't give a very even playing field, but at the same time, it is what it.
The playing field isn't even.
Correct.
So being able to showcase what it's just like what I was just saying about social media, being able to showcase what makes you special and unique is that should be true or I shouldn't say should be. Nobody needs me to discuss, I mean, to give my opinion on that, but it it is a very cool thing to be able to do. And I also think that the amount of people that are watching the TikToks, the balloon arches, all that stuff online, and then they go to NC State, I wonder if that is sort of a letdown and they're like, wait. And so maybe that affects how the recruitment goes for those PNMs.
I think you're on to something. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm always on to something, Whitford. But yeah, I do think the challenge is, and I was on someone else's podcast recently, and he was talking about the TikToks, and he really wanted me to give my thoughts on them, and I tried not to. I was trying to veer off, stay off, not give my opinion, which is shocking to anybody who listens to me. But I do think it's not a necessary, but it's here. The frills are here. And so how you deal with the frills, whether in recruitment or just in life, it's going to have to be something that's navigated. And I hope that NC State figures it out, because I think it's a great school. Of the people that I know that are in sororities there and in Greek life, they want it to continue to be strong. And I think that navigating the times, I think, is an important thing to do. So, we've covered a lot of ground. I didn't know that you were a teacher. I can totally see that. Why did you choose preschool?
I just gravitated towards it. And especially after COVID, I was like, preschool really just suits me.
Yeah, I love a preschooler. Golly. So darn cute. So, did you play field hockey?
I did. I played 7th through 12th, and I actually was going to go to Swanee and play in college, but blew out my knees junior and senior year.
Wow, yeah, that's did you have knee surgery but then, or was it just like reconstruction?
Oh yeah, I had knee surgery May of my junior year, and then December of my senior year, my dad sat me down after I committed, and my dad was like, "You can't play this professionally, so I think we need to go a different route." And I was like, "No," but he was correct. I really did need to go a different route.
So your dad sounds really awesome. Did he leave you any advice that or is there anything that when you think about him that you think about first?
He had a lot of Robinisms.
Was that his name?
My dad's name is Robin.
Okay,
yeah.
I was like, who's Robin?
he and I, well, he played football, and so he lived vicariously through my sister and I when it came to sports. And so he didn't understand field hockey at all. My sister also played field hockey. And so he would always say, "Go through the ball." And Carrington and I would always be like, you can't, that's not how you play this sport. But one of my bucket lists was to go and see every SEC and ACC football stadium.
Oh,
and
wow.
So, yeah, because I loved watching football with him. And so that's just, so anytime I watch a football game, I think of him.
Oh, I love that. And
Yeah.
I think when someone you loves something, it's both my boys played football. They were really into football, and I was not into football, obviously. Well, I'm not obviously, but I wasn't into football. And as a matter of fact, when I started dating my husband, he tried for an entire football season to teach me what a first down was. And I couldn't get it. But then the minute, I had my boys and they were into football, I was into football. And now I am rabid football fan now. I was a basketball fan growing up.
Same.
So is there anything, and if there's not, that's okay too. Is there anything that you want people to think of, the people who don't know you or people who do, when they think of you?
I don't think I've been asked that.
And again, you don't have to answer. I think of your strength and positivity. I've known you now
you're
for
kind.
20 minutes in person, but I think, but yeah, I would like to know if there's anything.
My family has had a morbid sense of humor, just because if you can't laugh, what else is there? And so I think you need to find the joy in each day, whether it's you get to have your favorite meal or you get to call your best friend. You've got to find pockets of joy in every day because they are there. You just got to find them.
I love that. Pockets of joy.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down. Pockets
Oh
of
man, I feel special.
Yeah, and I've written it down a lot, so you should feel special. Yeah, can you just talk about the t-shirt? So she sent a picture over, y'all, of herself. We asked podcast guests for pictures, and she sent one over, and I'm gonna have her describe it.
Yeah. So ALS, it's terminal. The life expectancy is 2 to 5 years, and my dad lived 11 months. So my mother got me a shirt and it says ALS, and then it looks like a Yelp review. It's got 5 stars, and then it's got 1 filled in, and underneath it says would not recommend. I wouldn't recommend ALS, obviously, but I think you can, like I said, you can find joy in it regardless.
And that's keeping a sense of humor, I'm sure, is something that you guys are doing in spades, which is really, again, inspiring and brave and all of the cool things. And so, is there anything I missed? Anything that you want to?
No.
All right. So Whitford isn't asking for this. I am asking for this because, or maybe not asking, but if you would like to donate to help ALS research, ALS United or Coop Strong are 2 things that Whitford, I don't know what you say, believes in or whatever. So if you want to donate in honor of her strength and positivity, the links to those places will be in the show notes. And thank you for spreading your joy with me, to our listeners. And I am going to go look for a pocket of joy today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And I know our audience does too. And thank you. Did I hear a dog whining?
Yeah, that would be Walter, our new golden retriever puppy.
Oh my gosh, Walter. I love a golden retriever and I love that name. I love human names for dogs.
Yeah, we had Henry, who was supposed to be my dad's service dog. We got him July 4th, and then my dad passed away 3 weeks later. So then we just kept Henry, and he passed away suddenly in March from cancer. And so my mom was like, I can't go through the rest of your illness without a golden. And so May, we got Walter. So, and he was supposed to be my mom's dog, and he has now attached himself to me.
Oh yeah. I love it when we had a golden die in January from cancer, 3-year-old golden.
Oh my gosh, that's so young.
His name was Skipper, but then my husband was like, okay, we're getting another one. So we got another one in March. And his name is Captain. And
oh, that's the best name.
So my grandfather's name was Skipper, and he was a big sailor. So Skipper and Captain. So Captain.
And they're awesome names.
Yeah. Well, I'm still liking Walter. So
we can trade. They can be best friends.
Exactly. They can be best friends. Well, thank you so much for being here and spreading your joy and positivity. And I admire you greatly, and I'm so, so, so grateful you were here.
You as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. In the meantime, check out my Instagram at Rush with Confidence for more tips. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. If you are enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. For additional Rush tips, updates, and more, please follow me on Instagram at Rush with Confidence. If you would like to reach out to us or for more information, please email info@madrushpod.com. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry and Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Trisha Addicks.